Yes, there's a question about the request from the Dutch government for the extradition of someone believed to be in Sierra Leone. And, you know, as you have heard, the Dutch government will say, has said that the person has already been convicted or is being investigated for the commission of certain crimes. One thing first, you know, I'd like to lay on the table is that the Minister of Information and Civic Education has done a brilliant job. I'm explaining this to members of the public and been really very transparent, you know, about how government is handling this. The Inspector General of Police has also made very clear that this is a subject of ongoing investigation, and that they have tied a name to a face. Now, where I come in, yes, I'll acknowledge that the Dutch government, as required by law, has served extradition documents on the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. So yes, I acknowledge that I am in receipt of those documents from the Dutch government. And then what that means, when the Attorney General receives those documents, you study them. The way extradition works is that, one, the crime for which the person has been convicted or is being investigated in that other country must be a crime in the country in which the request has been made. So that will mean crime committed, you know, in the Netherlands. If those crimes were committed, or if those actions were to take place in Sierra Leone, they will also amount to criminal conduct. And then the Attorney General will examine all of it. If the Attorney General makes a determination that there's a basis to proceed with extradition, then an application will be made to the court. So yes, there'll be a legal and political...
When did you receive the letter from the Dutch government?
I received more than a letter. It's a bundle of documents.
When did you receive it?
I received the documents in February. In February, and that's over 2 weeks ago. That I received the document, and once I received the document, the Minister of Information and Civic Education made a public announcement that the documents had been served on my office.
So you've explained, you know, the procedure in looking into the documents. That's the theory. The practical aspect is we know that even in Sierra Leone, drugs were not drug-friendly in Sierra Leone. Yes. So clearly, those crimes, because the information is online from the news, those crimes in Sierra Leone committed would still constitute total crime. So what's next?
So, like, I agree with you, you know, and Sierra Leone has made significant progress when it comes to fighting transnational crimes. You will see that in addition to the accountability regime, persons who have been prosecuted, there's also been an institutional response. I think, you know, you must have seen in the news that we have been able to intercept like entry and exit, you know, stand for drug, with both at the airport and at the seaport, you know, or, you know, even within the road exits, you understand, the borders of this country. Just yesterday, there's news about a vehicle having been intercepted by our police, you know, escaped, and then, you know, by the time it got to McKinney, it was intercepted. So those responses are out there for all to see, you know, transnational crimes, same in the context of human trafficking.
Yeah, so what does the government intend to do with the request from the Dutch government, the extradition request?
So that is where I see...
Are we intending to comply?
So we are examining the documents. So the point is that these are legal papers, right?
While you examine as a government, what's the status of your Jekas, aka Umaru Sharif, aka Boliyos, this same individual? What's his current status in country? No, that is for the police to handle. My job is to examine the legal papers. When it comes to... I ask because what if peradventure, while you're handling this and we pull some tricks, next thing you know, he's out of the country. It still puts all this extradition requests to null and void, to say. So the suspicion is, are we buying time to let him go?
So the point is that I think we're making conclusions, right?
No, I'm just asking questions.
Yes. No. So here's the thing. I think going by the last update, provided by the Inspector General of Police. He made clear that yes, they had made a connection between someone seen in a video and a person carrying the name Omar Sharif. But then they didn't have this person in custody. That is for the police to handle. I think when it comes to whether the person has been located, whether it is in custody, I think, you know, let's get those updates from the Inspector General of Police, and I don't think he has provided any update beyond what he provided. Now, when it comes to my job...
Are we intentionally, as a nation, retaliating for the request that Sierra Leone had made to their government for Adebayo?
No, we are not retaliating. The two issues are not related at all.
But similar.
No.
You have one person who this country considers that has committed some crimes that needs to come and face justice in your country, but is living in that country. It's a very similar situation.
No. So one thing that is very clear is that we will not make this issue a quid pro quo discussion. I think government's position on the conduct of this person called Adebayo is very clear. That is a separate matter that is being handled with the Dutch authorities. And then, of course, you know, the request made by the Dutch authorities in the context of this person that's the subject of our discussion is completely separate. Now, of course, you know, mutual legal assistance, you know, is corresponding obligation that states engage in. We will handle these discussions separately, but I'll tell you for a fact that there is no time wasting on this. There are no tricks being played on this. I take my job seriously, and I will not be taking decisions just based on what's in the media. I will take decisions based on the evidence that has been presented by the Dutch authorities. My team and I will do a line-by-line reading of those documents that have been submitted by the Dutch authorities. And then, after reading all of these, examining all of these documents, if it warrants an action from our end, we will take that necessary action. Now, what that action will be, I cannot sit here and say, because we are examining the document. When it comes to criminal conduct, that is why, in fact, I made reference to the Criminal Procedure Act. You know, even when a matter will be committed from the magistrate court, the AG's office will still need about 60 days to examine everything, to prepare an indictment, you know, because doing reviews of these documents and taking decisions on what needs to be done, these require effort, require sound reasoning, and that is how we will really approach this particular task.
Finally, as we round off and let you go, we saw on the first day of the holy month of Ramadan, the First Lady making a heartfelt plea for Hawa Hunt, who is in custody, and that case had been charged to court. How does the Attorney General and Minister of Justice's office comes into play in this? Well,
so the law is very clear in our Constitution. Say at any stage of proceedings before judgment, the Attorney General's office can discontinue a matter. And we lawyers will say the Attorney General has like nolle prosequi powers, you know, to annul proceedings, you know, and not proceed. Now, this has generated a lot of debates, and so I'm really glad that you raised this question as to the First Lady's plea. You know, some people even speculate that it suggests that the AG's office, you know, will take directives from abroad. First, I'd like to state that I have been Attorney General for a little over 2 months. During these 2 months, I have had to discontinue more than 10 cases before the courts. More than 10 I have had to discontinue. Yes, when we talk about criminal conduct, it's a matter for the state, right? But then there are several occasions in which a complainant or a victim of criminal conduct will say that I do not intend to cooperate with these proceedings, or I do not want this matter prosecuted. At that point, the Attorney General will have to make judgment as to whether it's the right use of the state resources for us to continue prosecutions. Of course, there are those criminal conducts, such as sexual offenses, in which the law is very clear, or in which, you know, I'll take a principled decision that whether the victim cooperates or not, whether the victim wants it or not, I will not discontinue proceedings.
Yeah, but you just speak to this one. This is one case in question, Hawa Hunt. What is your intention from the First Lady's plea? Are we going to discontinue that? Should people expect Hawa Hunt walking free? End of the case. This is a specific case.
Yes. So in the context of this specific case, it is my understanding that Hawa Hunt's lawyers will renew the bail application. And to be very clear, is that I do not intend to object to the bail application. But then, noting that the matter had already been committed to the High Court. And then Hawa Hunt has not appeared before the High Court. And so there are legal processes in discontinuing that matter. But if you want me to make a very public announcement on what the position of the office is that one, we will not object to bail application for Hawa Hunt, and then two, noting that you know, the impact of the victim on the victim you know, is now like minimal based on what we've had, and then noting the number of cases that I have to deal with in my office, for which, you know, I need to maximize the use of my resources. I will say in very clear terms that yes, we will discontinue the matter against Hawa Hunt.
Would this constitute as another case of orders from above?
No, it will not be orders from above, and that is why I said, if I just wrap this up, that is why I said, since I have become Attorney General, I have had to discontinue, I think I can count up to 13 cases. All of these 13 cases have had nothing to do with the presidency. Some of these have had to do with criminal conduct against regular people. But when I have looked at the evidence, when I have looked at the amount of work that needs to be done, when I have looked at what the victims have to say, or the complainants have to say, I have taken the tough decision of discontinuing these matters. Even today, there are two other matters beyond Hawa Hunt which will be discontinued. So it has nothing to do with orders from above, but also considers that the impact on the victim or the complainant is different from what we will perceive it to be, you know. So yes, that is what will guide the decision making, and that is why we'll discontinue the proceedings.
Thank you very much.